Sometimes we lose our muse, the spark of creativity, sometimes staring at an empty page, a sermon coming, they are relentless. Sometimes wandering. There is the text, the good text, the ancient text, a text filled with possibility, but there is also life. The stuff of life. As the muse is trying to find itself, there is the headlines of the week. Some that I've read through the week, others that some of you send me. There is also the stuff of the day-to-day of life, the encounters had at the grocery store, at the gym, at the intersection of 27th and A. There is the construction work all over town on the roads that don't bring the best Jesus out of any of us. There's also the stuff of home. The family member who didn't get their dishes done last night. The bill that you've been waiting to pay. There is the argument you had 2 days ago. And the oil change you've been ignoring for 3 months. The stuff of life. There's also the heartbreaks in the world. Famine, violence, despair. That seems to at times overwhelm us. We wondering what we need to do. Sometimes you can't find your muse. And you're left wondering. An empty page. Joy taken out. Creativity gone. You knowing you need something to move you forward. Then there's the stuff that no one knows. The anxiety of the night. The depression of the day, the diagnosis that's come our way, the coworker who lost their job, the possibilities that your own future might be on the line. Oh, sometimes we lose our muse, our energy, our creativity, our imagination. The text doesn't hold back on us here. Oh, we love to gather together in worship, and we like to be about joy, and I'll get to joy in just a second, but for now, I am so glad the text does not withhold from us. The psalmist often, this poetic, beautiful rendition of the reality of our lives, when so often we too wonder, God, what are you doing here? Have you forgotten us? Are you still angry at us? This is the God that messes in the crevices of human life. What's going on? We say. Don't you see that we need your help? Are you asleep? Have you forgotten? What do we have to do to turn you from your ignoring ways? Can you restore us? The psalmist says. Can you do something in my life today? I have been faithful. I have done all the right things. Can you please intervene in this moment? Speak. Why are you silent? This God, in the middle of the day-to-day of life, this human life of ours, sometimes you lose your muse. So I'm staring at an empty page and wondering about life, and then I remember. I remember the songs that inspire us. Sometimes on those moments of being kind of writer block, or on those moments of low energy, or on those moments when despair seems to be creeping in, I turn to the ancient songs of the Psalms, or to the great poetry that I have surrounded myself with. Or sometimes if it's really bad and I'm feeling overwhelmed, I put the rhythms of my native land. Those drums are drumming. And I find myself lifted up, imagination emerging. One of those witnesses to my own moments of despair, one of those that speaks to me to better days, is poet Christian Wyman. And this is what he says. In the end, we go to poetry for one reason: so that we might more fully inhabit our lives and the world in which we live them. And that if we more fully inhabit these things, this life and this world, we might be less apt to destroy both. We come here on Sunday morning, and we gather together, and we sing songs as we should, and we say prayers as we should, and we greet each other in the midst of our lives as we should. And sometimes, because it's church and because we are good Midwestern folk, we might even fake it a little, put a smile on our faces. But if we pay attention, behind the obvious, there's humanity here. There is pain here, lack of direction here. If we pay attention, we're going to see the struggles here, the longings and the pains of the day-to-day of life. If we pay attention, we will see those here. Sometimes I lose my muse, and I think about you in your fullness. And all of a sudden, like the psalmist of long ago, my own spirit begins to turn. I, like the ancient psalmist, hear God speaking. I hear God speaking of peace. I hear God speaking of justice. I hear God speaking of fidelity. I hear God speaking of love. I hear it in your songs. I hear it in your prayers. I hear it in your longings. I hear it in the ways in which we encounter here one another. I hear it, and I hear it, and I see it. And then all of a sudden, the page is not empty. Hopelessness does not win. Despair is not the last word. Sometimes we lose our muse, but the God of creation shows up in unexpected ways and tells us that love and fidelity will meet one another. We see it. Can you see that love? Can you see that fidelity, that faithful, steadfast, always overwhelming and grace-filled love of God meeting each other? I see the peace and justice kissing one another, though it's at times so difficult to see, improbable at times it seems. But I see it in the small ways that you love each other and you love this community. Oh, there it is. There is wholeness, integrity, healing, and new life, peace, shalom, emerging, encountering a world like God wants it to be. I see those coming together, oh, imperfectly and human as we can. I see it. Sometimes we lose our muse, overwhelmed by the day-to-day of life and by the struggles of the world. And sometimes I want to push you along a little, get you to joy quickly. But today is a different invitation. Let's sit on it a bit. Where you are. I don't know where you are in this moment, but I have a hunch that there's a lot going through your mind today. The stuff of life visiting. And I wish sometimes that I could introduce you to another fellow soul that's struggling like that. But together, in this ancient story, we begin to find life and light. We begin to expand our imagination. We begin to see possibility for us and for our neighbor and for the world. We even see possibility for our enemy, for the one that we despise the most. That is the core of this good news. We seeing love and faithfulness, peace and justice in places where no one else sees them. We proclaiming them hard-headedly so in the midst of our lives, in the messiness and imperfections of it, we beginning to see hope and possibility for us in this moment and in a new world. It's not all going to turn out like we want it to, and there's still going to be suffering and pain in the world, but we holding fast to the possibility that a day will come when all will be made well. And until then, we hard-headedly proclaiming that possibility, rehearsing a reality. Sometimes my muse leaves me, but then I think of you, just you, where you are in your full humanity, in your full divinity. You, beloved ones, at full stretch before God.